78 years. That is how long NASCAR has been running on ovals, road courses, city streets, and super speedways from Daytona to Darlington. And in all that time, no military base had ever hosted a Cup Series race. Until now. This weekend, as sport crosses a boundary it has never crossed before, and it is happening in one of the most iconic military installations in the entire United States. If you think this is just another race weekend, you are completely wrong. Here is what is happening. NASCAR is bringing all three of its top divisions, the Craftsman Truck Series, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and the Cup Series, to Naval Base Coronado in San Diego, California this weekend, June 19th through the 21st. The event headlining the Cup slate is called the Anduril 250, and it goes green on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Friday kicks things off with Truck Series qualifying in a race that night. Saturday features the O'Reilly Series. And Sunday belongs to the Cup cars. This is not a street course outside a base. This is on the base active United States Navy property on Coronado Island, just across the bay from downtown San Diego. Never been done before, not once in NASCAR history. Let's put this in perspective. NASCAR has spent the last several years aggressively hunting new venues and new audiences. They went to downtown Chicago and turned the streets into a road course. They went back to Bowman Gray in North Carolina. They have experimented with format, with timing, with broadcast strategy. This is the next step in that evolution, and arguably the boldest one yet. Naval Base Coronado is home to the Navy SEALs. This is hallowed American ground. Hosting a motorsports event there sends a message that goes way beyond lap times and pit road strategy. It is a partnership between one of America's most iconic sports organizations and its military, and the optics of that in the current cultural moment are enormous. From a purely logistical standpoint, think about what it takes to construct a racing circuit on a military installation. The infrastructure demands, the security protocols, the engineering required to build a track that can handle Cup-level speeds on property that was never designed for it. This took years of coordination, and they pulled it off. Now, factor in the championship picture. We are roughly at the midpoint of the 2026 season, and Tyler Reddick sits at the top of the standings with 704 points. Denny Hamlin is breathing down his neck at 604 fourth sit. After that, there is a significant gap to Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott in the 500-point range. This race matters. Every playoff point earned in San Diego could be the difference between advancing past the first round in September or watching the championship from the couch. Now here is where it gets really interesting from a competition standpoint. Nobody has data on this track. Duro, there is no historical reference point, no previous race film to study, no crew chief who ran a similar layout here 2 years ago and still has notes on it. Every team walks into this weekend completely blind. That is a massive equalizer, and it is also a potential chaos agent. Teams like Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing spend millions of dollars building simulation models and aerodynamic packages tailored to specific venues. That advantage largely evaporates at a track nobody has ever seen at race speed. What that does is create a genuine opportunity for smaller operations. Carson Hocevar in the 77. Daniel Suarez in the 7, guys who are hanging around the playoff bubble right now, could legitimately exploit a chaotic first-time event if they can read the track surface early in practice and adapt faster than the big dogs. And that brings us to the real strategic story of this weekend, practice time. With all three divisions running at Coronado over 3 days, the Truck Series and O'Reilly cars are essentially going to serve as scouts. By the time Sunday arrives, teams with sharp engineers will have analyzed footage from Friday and Saturday and drawn meaningful conclusions about the racing line, the tire wear cycle, and where the grip actually lives on this surface. The teams with the best data infrastructure win that intelligence battle. Reddick needs a clean run. He has the points lead, but 19 points over Hamlin is nothing. One mechanical failure, one wrong pit call, one incident in a field that is chasing maximum playoff points. And that cushion is gone. Hamlin, on the other hand, has nothing to lose by being aggressive. If he is ever going to throw the kitchen sink at a race weekend to claw points back, a chaotic first-time military base track is exactly the venue to do it. Watch those two. Their weekend will define the shape of the first half of the playoff chase. The reaction to this event has been exactly what you would expect, and also entirely unpredictable in the best way. The traditionalist NASCAR fan base, the ones who grew up watching super speedway racing and still believe Talladega is the sports cathedral, have been skeptical. The argument from that corner is simple. NASCAR should not be a traveling circus. It should be about great racing, not great backdrops. But the younger audience, the one NASCAR has been desperately trying to win over, is electric about this. Military appreciation is embedded in American culture. Putting 150,000 horsepower machines on a Navy base is the kind of crossover that drives viral content, national news coverage, and eyeballs from people who have never watched a lap in their lives. Military families across Southern California will be at this race. That is a demographic NASCAR has never fully captured. This weekend could change that. Media analysts have already pointed to the Anduril sponsorship, that is a defense technology company, as a sign of NASCAR's ambition to plant its flag in industries far beyond the traditional automotive space. This is branding strategy as much as it is racing. Best case scenario, this weekend becomes one of the most watched NASCAR events of the decade. The unique setting generates massive mainstream media coverage. The racing itself is unpredictable and chaotic, which makes for incredible television. A first-time winner or a dramatic points shakeup happens on Sunday. Naval Base Coronado becomes an annual fixture on the schedule, and NASCAR locks in a whole new segment of American fans who had never engaged with the sport before. Worst case scenario, the logistics of running a race on a military installation create delays, access complications, or surface issues that lead to a frustrating product on track. If the racing is processional, if cars just line up single file on an unfamiliar surface with no grip, the criticism will be loud and immediate. A DNF for Reddick or wreck that eliminates a playoff contender before the postseason even starts turns a historic moment into a messy one. And then the conversation shifts from NASCAR made history to was it worth it? Here is the question that matters most heading into this weekend. Is NASCAR genuinely evolving, or is it running out of traditional ideas and reaching for spectacle to cover that up? Because there is a version of this where Naval Base Coronado becomes the Chicago street course, a cultural moment that also delivers tremendous racing and proves the critics wrong every single year. And there is a version where it becomes a novelty act that never quite lives up to the hype. What do you think? Is this the boldest move NASCAR has made in the generation? Or is this a bridge too far from what the sport actually is at its core? Drop your take in the comments. I want to know where you stand on this one. And if you want complete coverage all the way through championship weekend at Homestead, Miami in November, make sure you are subscribed. This title fight is just getting started.